the YTCracker, the progenitor of all the nerds.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to TinkTink.org Interviews. I'm your host, Josh Wilson, here today with our guest, Hacker Cracker Rapper Extraordinaire, Mr. YTCracker. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing excellent. How you doing?
I'm fine. Alright, so you've stated in other interviews that your mom and dad exposed you to computers from a very young age. Now, were your parents nerds, and they could kind of see the computers were the future, and they were trying to get you in there early? Or,
Well, I guess my dad, by trade, he's an engineer. He worked for Martin Marietta and then Lockheed Martin, and he did guidance systems for the Titan and Atlas rocket systems. Initially, the reason I was born in California is he's working at Hughes Aircraft, and he did the Peacekeeper missiles back in the 80s. But he's a very hardware-oriented guy. And while he went and got his master's in computer science, when I was about 10, I just kind of studied alongside of him. And, from there, just learned, how to program. I've always fascinated with computers. Like, we had one in the house from the time I was very, very young. The Timex Sinclair, the TI 99A. There's these cartridge-based systems called like an Odyssey, the Apple II. Basically the genesis of that. Started out in BASIC and then started doing higher level programming and learning like Unix operating system stuff.
Nice. So you've stated before that you started programming in BASIC when you were 4. Now, BASIC isn't exactly the most interesting thing in the world. How did it keep your attention? Why'd you keep coming back?
Oh, well, when I was, I was born in '82, and so BASIC was pretty much, there was a lot of PCs, basically, they were coming out, and BASIC was the operating system. So as a result, it's kind of just became the de facto standard. You'd get these magazines and these books that would actually have the code printed out, and you would just transcribe it. And so, again, as a kid, it was just fun to have, 10 input, a $, what's your name kind of stuff, and then, print it out, go to 10 kind of thing. And it just sort of developed, obviously, it's limited on the amount of programming power you have, but it parlayed that into, Visual Basic to this day is probably my favorite language still, as far as desktop goes, like with the .NET framework now. But, there's so much stuff and versatility with, VB6 even that I used that for quite a long time as far as database applications and stuff goes.
Nice. So, how big of a part did gaming play in your life?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't have a lot of friends. I think my computer was my best friend, and it never made fun of me or called me weird, and it was always ready to play when I was and stuff. And same thing with the Nintendo entertainment system. That was just my entire hallmark of my life. Like I just remember, before you could even save games and stuff, I had my own little itty bitty TV that I would turn it off and leave the Nintendo on while I was at school, and then when I'd come back, I could pick the game up from where I started. But I was very meticulous and kind of OCD about beating games. So for a long time, I would just I remember Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the first NES game. I didn't quit playing that game until I finally beat it, and it was a really, really hard experience, but teaches you gumption as a kid.
No, are you still a gamer?
It's funny because I am and I'm not. My daughter and we play a lot of video games together, but I was just playing Diablo 3 last night with my friend Tom, and World of Warcraft was something I was playing quite a bit, but I really love mobile games, things like Draw Something that are kind of just fire and forget, real easy to do. The old school adventure games, I'd like to see a resurgence of those, like the Sierra-style Space Quest, King's Quest kind of stuff. But first-person shooters, I'm absolutely terrible at. Role-playing games, I'm decent at. So there's I mean, I love gaming still to this day, but I'm not. A lot of the Twitch gaming and stuff that's popular now, as far as the Call of Duties and the Halos, I'm atrocious at, and I embarrass all my friends when I try to play. So, yes.
So, like, what are your views on the gaming industry right now, and anything you would do different? Like,
Um,
example, Diablo 3. Like, do you approve of the have to be online the whole time just to play single player type of thing?
Uh, you know, the I had this kind of weird epiphany a few weeks ago, I think, and I was talking about how because I think even the new MacBook Pros and stuff have they're not going to come out with optical drives, and so as a distribution medium, I mean, I'd like to see really creative like USB keys and stuff that are transformery or something to do with the game, like a sword, for Diablo 3 or something. So as far as presentation and things go, you could also do like hardware-based DRM if you're evil like that. I think the indie game stuff now, like the Roxio style, Angry Birds before they became like the evil empire in some senses in the indie gaming industry now. There's so many as far as the Farmville style stuff, it's very just kind of pick it up and go. That kind of stuff is really interesting now, to see how that's progressed. Because in a sense, there's a lot of games that require your attention, like an RPG, in order to play it through all the way. Like it really requires you to be there and be present and put a lot of hours into it. But then some of these games that you can just kind of pick up and leave are just a good novel way to just get everybody involved in the games rather than die-hard fans and stuff.
All right. So, what's your favorite gaming system of all time and your favorite game?
My favorite gaming system of all time, I'd have to go with the original Nintendo. This question's always very hard for me because,
As it should be.
yeah, different times, like Dragon Warrior, I remember it was my first really real experience in the role playing, or Dragon Quest in Japan. It was my first real role playing experience, and obviously that had a lot to shape me. But man, game wise in general, uh, yeah, I would probably give you a different answer every day of the week. That's what's different. I don't know.
Good answer. Good answer.
Yeah, that's good enough.
All right. So, what's your view on emulators right now?
Um, as far as do I like them? Do I like the idea or?
Well, I mean, some companies are totally opposed to them, but at the same time, it's like it's not always easy to go out and get your favorite Atari game or get
Oh,
it working and whatnot.
yeah, and I think like if I was as a musician or whatever, I the point of making a game or point of making a book or anything like that is because you want people to enjoy it and play it. It's not all about like money and stuff. And so realistically, if I designed an awesome game 25 years ago and there's a way for a 9-year-old to experience it today, I mean I'd be ecstatic and thrilled just for the opportunity to kind of have that longevity. A good friend of mine, Zod TTD, he does all the he programs all of the iPhone emulators for. He just released the iOS 64 one, but he's done the Super Nintendo one and the NES one, and it's cool to have those games just on your handheld. Old games from back in the past and stuff, and the save state feature is something that we never had as kids, and so that helps you beat games that you maybe never did get a chance to. But I love the concept of emulators and everything it's very piracy style guerrilla warfare stuff, and realistically I don't know why companies would even bitch about it because it's just promoting the I don't know the whole concept and ethos of gaming, where it started and how it's ending up.
So, are you still a computer programmer? Like, you still dabble?
Yeah, I still have to get my hands dirty every once in a while. More or less now the applications I develop are a lot of web-based stuff. But I mean, my company, I have developers that work under me and stuff, and there's certain ways that I mean, in my field, it's kind of there's a little bit of a secret sauce to a lot of stuff, and there's certain ways you have to do things, kind of how you prepare a dish as a chef, and a lot of times it's things that they don't really teach you in school. It's how you apply it to real world stuff, and so in a sense, there's a lot of times where I have to kind of do things myself, but for the most part, I try to just be an idea man these days.
And are you also a graphic designer?
I am a terrible graphic designer, but I am a graphic designer. I wouldn't consider myself like top tier level, but I mean I've done a lot of different logo designs and graphics and stuff for companies, and I mean I don't even keep my portfolio online, but I'm decent, but I suck at drawing. It's just stick figures and when I am able to use a computer, yeah, I mean I can put out some pretty cool stuff.
So, have you ever thought of getting your programming skills and your limited art skills and making your own game with them?
I actually was going to. I had a team on my board, Digital Gangster, that I was commissioning just people that wanted to throw in on this. I kind of had the idea of making this kind of hacker-related RPG sort of game. I was going to base off the Torque engine. I mean, I know so the .NET and the XNA programming you can do a lot of Xbox Live Arcade and it ports. So initially, there's people that worked at the studios that make Torque that were familiar with my music and were going to license the engine to me. And I forgot why it didn't get off the ground. I think it was just hard syncing everybody up together. But again, a lot of it's function of time, like how much free time do I realistically have to devote to a project like a game, because you don't want to put out a crappy game and everyone laughs at you for it. So again, I wanted to do it right if I do it.
Right. So, good old 1998. I think that was the first year you started producing nerdcore rap. Now, did you dabble in rap or any other genres of music prior to nerdcore?
Electronic music, my first love. I used to write little songs on these DOS-based trackers, like a Scream Tracker, Fast Tracker, Impulse Tracker, and it's just sample-based, kind of. It's not like programming music. And I play guitar, and I was rapping here and there with this little local group called Angel Pool, and then the nerdcore stuff. Like, I mean, I was kind of rapping what I knew, and I mean, I was into the rave culture and doing drugs and whatever else. But at the same time, I had such a huge computer influence in the stuff I was doing that it just kind of naturally came out in the lyrics I was saying. So even the stuff that I was doing for the hip hop community, the local hip hop community, was computer based and stuff. And then so it just kind of progressed from there. And then as I went on, man, it's really raining out here. As I went on, it just kind of evolved into it. And then Frontalot, he came up with the term nerdcore and was doing similar things. It just kind of fit into that bucket. So that's where that term came from, the labeling.
So, are you working on any new albums at the moment?
I am actually. There's actually like a few projects that I've been working on. I kind of took last year off in a sense from music. I had a couple singles that went out, and the Anti-Sex single did pretty good on YouTube and everywhere. And there's some stuff here and there, but I'm just been sandbagging a lot of different stuff. I kind of leaked a few tracks off on my SoundCloud that. I mean, some of them are like emotional, nerdy stuff and Supernova swag and everything. But it's like I said, me and Adam Warwick are working on a EP together. Me and Haretsu are working together. I'm working on a solo. 8-Bit Boys 2, we're reconstituting 8-Bit Boys and doing that. We just started working on a lot of that stuff. So this year I'm probably going to wind up putting out 4 or 5 mixtapes, albums, and comps, as it ends. So
Okay. So, 1999, you donned a white hat and exploited some flaws in some website security, namely NASA and the Bureau of Land Management, Defense Contract Audit Agency, to name a few, and gained a little media coverage in the restitution bill and whatnot. Now, besides of alerting them of their security problems, what made you want to hack these sites?
uh,
I mean, like, was it the
well,
ease of doing it, the thrill, or feeling a
well,
certain godlike powers? Or...
absolutely. I think that there's a certain fascination with the computer, like, and the war games. Like, there was a huge hysteria, like I think in the '80s, during the communism and the threat of electronic warfare, and it became kind of even a Hollywood glamorized sort of thing. But I mean, part of it was during that period of time. It was. I mean, and now it's so crazy because there's a huge resurgence. It's been like over a decade later, and a lot of the same problems are still manifesting themselves. But we are not like our infrastructure as the United States or Western nations or whatever is not it's not designed uh, securely. And the thing is that the chain is only as strong as its weakest link, kind of thing. And so if you're able to get into a ring system, I mean, you're not able to get in like SIPRnet and NIPRnet because those are what's called sneaker nets. You have to walk to them in order to use them. They're not connected to outside like internet routable computers. But the thing is that you'll read it in the news. You'll see like a confidential laptop left at airport and stolen, and everybody's freaking out, or is the kind of just lackluster security that these IT professionals put on their site, and it really impacts. There's a lot of stuff that you can do, more things that you think that you can do with like what's even externally routable and stuff. And so as we need to start kind of taking that Japanese, or not Japanese, but Chinese and Russian models where we take a lot of the smarter hackers and stuff that are here in the States, and then train them, to basically do kind of work for the good guys. Because right now, I mean, basically, you sit there with your fly open, out to the rest of the world, and they're playing a totally different game than we are. So it's very important that we build our infrastructure. I mean, nations suck, and yeah, it sucks that we don't have world peace, but that's what we live in. So I don't know.
All right, so SOPA, PIPA, whatever you pronounce it, ACTA, CISPA, all that stuff. I personally think those bills are from the devil. What's your take on them?
I completely agree. It's hard to because you have a bunch of like non-technical people they're trying to solve a non-technical problem with technical means that they don't understand. And the thing is that there is a huge fear of like, oh, the internet big brother and everything like that, but it already is. Like, those laws really are they're not even worth the paper they're printed on, in a sense. I mean, the government can do whatever they want, and people have just been sitting here and taking it anyway. So it's not like they even need the letter of the law to do what they want to do. In a sense, though, it's good to see. Like, I think what's good is it's the discourse, the discussion that it's generating, and it's getting people informed. And people that wouldn't normally be, I guess, talking about this sort of thing are kind of revisiting it and seeing how it fits in the context of free speech and in expression online and the types of things you can do. And so for that, I think it's good because at least it's opening up, the public discourse of people talking about it. But again, if they pass, I have no faith in humanity, less than I do right now.
But I mean, you're an artist, so wouldn't these bills be beneficial to you?
Well, it's not. Like, I mean, one thing I've always said is that I think that, I mean, we really do glorify celebrity culture and art and stuff way, way more than it really needs to be. I mean, just because somebody's good at swinging a bat doesn't necessarily mean that, they should make $50 million a year or whatever. And same thing with the artist type of thing is like you get into music, or you get into painting, or you get into writing, or you get into making games, you get into creating because you want to artistically make a vision or something and have people enjoy it and connect with it. And any way of stifling that is just dumb because, I would rather have a fan than $10 from him buying the album, like, or her. If they download it off some torrent site and they get enjoyment out of it, that's what I care about. And, if they come and see me at a show and buy a T-shirt, I mean, they've done their part, I guess. Like, it's not the money that's important to me. Never, in this realm of my life. It's more, I just want people to enjoy the music that I'm putting out or whatever. And so any efforts to stop that, in the interest of profit is garbage. Like, the fans will appreciate you if you give them shit. Like,
Free stuff is good.
free stuff's always good.
Right. So, some people have said like the current business model today is promoting piracy, and the piracy's affecting sales so much, and like that's the reason for DMR in games and all that stuff. Do you believe that's true, or what's your take on it?
Well, the DRM stuff, like I said, it's they're trying to protect the remnants of a business model that existed. I mean, recorded music. If you think back, we only have we have less than 100 years of music labels and less than 100 years of CDs, tapes, vinyl. All that stuff has really just been like within the last 100 years, and the way the meteoric rise of the music industry or the gaming industry is like now you have all these mouths to feed and all these middlemen and managers and secretaries, and it's so disconnected from like the guy sitting at his house recording a demo. Now you have this machine, you have publicity, you are your publicists, you have your managers, your agents, da da da. And so in order to keep that machine sustainable, a lot of times they have to squeeze every dollar out everywhere they can get it, and that's the problem. It's the fact that the industry itself is so bloated that the CEO of this label can't buy a Bugatti if he doesn't gouge these 9 artists at the bottom and stuff. And so as a result of, greed, it's basically poisoned, music, movies, everything. And so that's why the indie model, if you can get to a certain level of notoriety, even the level that I'm at, like performance-wise, like I could tour on that for the rest of my life and, make a decent living. And that's what is scaring the record labels and stuff, is because, all the money comes from touring and merchandising, because you can't download a T-shirt yet, and you can't experience a live show and the sweat and the yelling and the crowd and stuff, from your house as well yet. They don't have hologram concert in your room yet. But, so as a result, the record labels are trying to take every piece of, money they can out of all these pockets, and it hurts the artist and it hurts the art. And so I think that it's going to collapse in on itself eventually, and it'll get back to more of a personal thing, I hope, at least.
So if you could, God for a day, change the business model, is that how you do it? Just personal?
Oh, well, I think it's just returning the control back to the artists. And, I understand, because I'm terrible at merchandising in a sense. Like, a lot of times I don't even bring merch to my shows, because I still do it more as a hobby for fun or something. But, if if the artist is in control of his own starship in a sense, where he's the one that's in charge of hiring who publicizes him, and he's in charge of seeing who shoots the music video, more creative direction, or at least hiring his own manager that has that sort of thing, to be able to dictate and call the shots and stuff. That's sort of a kind of a little small island, and then just getting your name out through the internet, I think, is the best way. But labels and stuff, they're not going to go quietly into the night. So whether I was God or not, I don't even think God himself could change the state of the music industry right now. So,
so as of kind of late, all the mega upload, whatnot, and all that stuff's happening. What do you think is the future of P2P sites and gaming? Do they have a future?
It's been said a million times that you can't kill an idea, and I think that is very true. And I don't know if you Louis C.K. is a comedian. He and and he just recently did his latest special, DRM free, put it on his website for $5 a download, and he made $1 million off of it. And it was just a connection between him and his fans, and put that up there, and everybody paid and stuff. And that's the thing, is I think that if somebody appreciates, your game, and you make that appeal as an indie developer, or anything like that, and you say like, hey, we need this money, like if you like our game, give us money. It's not some huge evil empire kind of thing. I don't think fans have a problem with paying for it. But at the same time, this peer-to-peer stuff is never going away. Like, you can't, people still to this day murder, rob, steal. Things that have been going on since the beginning of human history. You just find more clever ways to do it. And all it is a manifestation of that human nature, I guess.
So, anything you'd like to say to the fans out there? Any advice to young nerdlings out there?
Just stay the course. Keep living the nerd life. Sorry if I've been here, there, and everywhere. I've got a lot going on in the personal world and business world. So, but I'll be back with the music and stuff soon. And just everybody have fun.
All right. So, if you don't mind, we should challenge your skills right now as a freestyle master.
A freestyle master.
You should rap right now. Just go.
Acapella.
On the spot.
Okay. It's raining outside. I'd like to hide under a tree, but I can't because I'm such a sick MC. I gotta stay out here on the stage and turn the page. Shoot sparks out my hand like a mage. Tink tink. Josh. Holla back. It's a wash. I'm in the rain. Like I said before, that's off the brain. How was that?
Good enough for an applause. Congrats. Alright, well everybody, since you're already here, you might as well check out our YouTube channel, and be sure to visit tinktink.org for all of your gaming needs. Also, be sure to check out YTCracker.com and download some of his albums that he has so graciously offered free of charge. And special thanks to our guest, Mr. YTCracker, for talking with us today.
Thank you for having me. If you can't find it free on my site, you can find it free somewhere else. And you learn a lot
about that.
All good.
But this has been Josh Wilson, and as always, thanks for listening to tinktink.org interviews.